Welcome to Bishop Aquatics. Today we're going to be looking at pearlweed, one of our most functional plants and personal favorites for both myself and our master breeder. We use it in 90% of our tanks to assist in the protection of fry and to facilitate safety among the fish and invertebrates in our tanks to make sure they feel comfortable breeding. It's a huge factor in our success, and it's completely transformed the way we do things. It's a relatively unknown plant, and it's got a ton of uses. You can use it, it's very versatile. You can use it in a ton of different ways, and we're going to be looking at those today. Right now we are in our Colorado location. We'll be looking at our tanks here and how we use it, and then how our master breeder in Arizona uses it to breed his guppies. This is how we sell it. This would be 1 cup. It's like $10 without shipping, $20 with shipping, and that's because we do package everything with heat packs, installation, and priority mail, which means we spend about $12 on shipping no matter what we send. If it's 1 cup, 4 cups, 5 cups, it's going to cost us about $12 in shipping, so we have to charge a little bit more to make sure it gets to you safe. But here's how it comes. Let's see what it's good for. Alright, so here is our main pearlweed tank here in Colorado. As you can see, it looks like it's kind of stuck in the ground, but most of it is actually just floating across this tank. And it's completely consumed the tank. It's very pretty. It'll keep that water crystal clear, absorbing all the nitrites and nitrates in the water, along with other things. And the fish just absolutely love it. We'll zoom in here in a second, but this is our main pearlweed tank here in Colorado. We have Vienna guppy and pumpkin orange shrimp in this tank. The shrimp and guppies hide in, the younger ones hide in it and use it almost like a little protective barrier against getting eaten. This is how we preserve our fry ratios of both guppies and shrimp, and make sure we get as many, like as high as a survival rate as we can, excuse me. What we also do is use this as cover for the females and the fry. For when they're pregnant, they'll generally go to the pearlweed kind of as a seclusion area where they can feel comfortable to give birth. So it reduces the stress in the labor and the birthing process for these animals. So what we do is, this is a tank, like I said, entirely of pearlweed. Here, let's go ahead and we'll zoom in here and get a good look. Here we have our tank. You can see all the shrimp hiding in there, all the fish swimming around, under, over, all about. And this tank is entirely just pearlweed. We also have some floating in our breeder box here, and we'll see how we use it in other tanks as well. You can see it looks like it's floating right here, and it is. It's not actually planted into the substrate. That's just kind of how it'll grow under high lighting. It's out and bushy without growing tall and spindly. Under low lighting, it will grow taller rather than bushier. And you can see that's just kind of going all the way down and across. It's kind of on the right here. It is pushed into the substrate, so it'll grow roots and kind of stick there without floating up too bad. One thing to note is if you are planning on carpeting this plant, corridoras are notorious for uprooting it and kind of making it float, which isn't the end of the world. It's a fantastic floating plant as well. So not the friendliest with your bottom rooters, but stuff like shrimp and guppies and any live bear absolutely love this plant. Let's see if we can zoom here and see if some of these shrimp go into town. There's just hundreds of shrimp in here, grooming it, feel nice and secure. The fish don't bother them, and they can always retreat to where a barrier the fish can't really get through, which is what they would need for their fry to survive and not become a tasty, expensive snack for my fish. How do we use this plant? Well, you can use this plant in a lot of different ways. You can carpet it, you can put it in the background and let it grow tall, you can put it in the midground and prune it, or you can put it in the foreground however you'd like and just heavily prune it. This plant responds very well to a lot of maintenance and pruning. It is not required. It does result in significant changes with the plant. It'll grow faster, more outwards, have kind of branch off. Instead of one stem, it'll be 5 or 6. And that makes a large difference. When you look at this tank, it's amazing at keeping your water crystal clear. It'll suck out all that extra nitrates, nitrites, and help prevent ammonia buildups in case you're not using live plants. That's a very large benefit of these low-tech, low-maintenance plants, is they help naturally balance your ecosystem in your aquarium, as well as providing cover and security and just a more natural environment for everything in your tank. We use these in literally almost every tank. Here is this is a 20-gallon long, the Vienna breeder. Here is a 6-gallon filled with blue shrimp that are not probably going to be able to pick up right now, but you can see pearlweed. Here, right next to that, is a 5-gallon filled with pearlweed, red rose fry, and Bloody Mary shrimp. They're just hanging out down there. There's quite a few of them. And you can see in tanks we're trying to breed fish in, we will have lots of good cover for their albino red lace guppies. Again, we're trying to get them to breed, so island of pearlweed. And here's the actual fish. Give you a little sneak preview of these guys. Beautiful fish. Really pops them when they're in the back under the light. They're in the foreground, so we're not getting as much of the lighting, but really a beautiful fish. And they kind of just hang around that. They all really like a cup of pearlweed in their tank. It doesn't matter what strain or what else you have going on in there. If you can float an island of pearlweed, I highly suggest it. And it only really takes about a cup. It grows very quickly. You'll have more than you bought within a couple weeks. Little guppy from these guys already. He got separated, or she got separated into this box and is very happy, so they can feel comfortable in there with the pearlweed, the same water as the master tank. And that's where we pulled her out from, right there, or him. So this is one of our inside tanks. I don't normally show these off, but I really wanted to show how much we do appreciate the pearlweed. This is an inside vertical 15 Vienna and pumpkin orange shrimp, as long as Corey's at the bottom there. And that is a huge mound of pearlweed that's grown attached to a floating stick and has just kind of gone out from there, and it is the best cover I could ask for all my shrimp and guppy fry. Why, when, and how should I use this plant? Well, this plant is absolutely phenomenal because it's so versatile. You can use it as a floating, middle ground, foreground, or background plant. So you can put it in the foreground, heavily prune it, and under highlighting, it'll grow short, dense, and bushy. It'll grow outwards, not up. In low lighting, or towards the back of your tank, you can not trim it. It'll continue growing upwards, and in low lighting, there'll be more space between the leaves, so it'll be kind of stemmier looking. This plant basically can be shaped and aquascaped to how you desire it to be, while still performing all the roles it does, such as cleaning your water and providing shelter for invertebrates and guppies or fish, small fish. We use it in, like I said, 90% of our tanks. Our master breeder has completely transformed the way he does things with this plant, and it is relatively unknown compared to a lot of other plants like Monte Carlo, guppy grass, some other options. But it's incredibly easy to maintain and use. It does not require CO2, it does not require highlighting, it does not require fertilizers. Those things will make a difference when you choose to use them, but they are not required, unlike a lot of plants, to see great results. It'll populate and reproduce very heavily. All you do is cut it, drop the stems in the tank, let it float, and it'll keep growing. It's incredibly easy to propagate. Not only that, but you will, if you're trying to breed any kind of fish or shrimp, you will transform your results using this plant. Just completely different. Let's go ahead and look at our master breeder's footage he took for us and see how he uses it in one of his tanks for his blue moss scout. What we're attempting to do today is to show you how we community breed and use natural elements to grow our guppies out. We're visiting our 55-gallon indoor tank of our blue moss scouts. I have a huge amount of pearlweed into the tank, and that's what allows, you can see right here, the fry to absolutely live in the pearlweed, grow, and then come out at their will, more like nature. I've just fed them their daily feeding of baby brine shrimp, and you can see the fry and the females, but we have just pretty much 80% of the canopy covered in pearlweed, and you can see the symbolic relationship of the pearlweed and the fry and the guppies. We use similar techniques in our outdoor tubs. We just fill them with a canopy of pearlweed. The canopy outside the roots grow, it's probably 12 to 20 inches thick. It may not be the most attractive aquarium setting, but this is how you can naturally raise your guppies. Anyway, pearlweed is a really functional plant. Here it's not attractive. I'm just using it strictly as a floater for the breeding tank. But you can also plant it and let it root and carpet it and trim it and groom it, and it makes a wonderful carpeting plant. It grows into bushes, it grows as carpeting, you can float it. We highly recommend with any purchase on our website of our guppies, add a small bunch, 1 cup of pearlweed. One of the most useful aquarium plants are, and not well known at all. In fact, this original stock of pearlweed we received came from L.R. Britz, the shrimp king. And he makes extensive uses of pearlweed as well as guppy grass. Anyway, thanks for watching, and just another little hint on how to grow your guppies. Pearlweed.